Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a question that project managers have been debating forever. What is the perfect number of activities for a project schedule? Is there even such a thing? It really is the scheduler's Goldilocks problem. On one side, you've got the classic three-line schedule: start, do work, finish. It's kind of become an industry punchline because, let's be honest, it's totally useless. But on the other extreme, you can have a 10,000 activity monster that's so dense and complicated, nobody can even read it, let alone manage it. So the big question is, how do you find that sweet spot, that just right level of detail? Well, here's the secret. There is no magic number. The perfect schedule isn't a number you find, it's something you build, and it's a direct reflection of your project's unique DNA. So let's talk about uncovering that DNA. To figure out the right activity count, you really have to become a project detective. You've got to look for clues that are baked right into the project itself. And it turns out there are 7 key factors that give you all the clues you need. Now, a really helpful way to think about these is to split them into 2 main buckets: the external pressures you have to deal with, and the internal blueprint that you actually control. First, let's look at those external pressures. These are the forces that are kind of pushing on your project from the outside, basically setting the ground rules for how detailed your schedule has to be. First up is project size. And this one is pretty intuitive, right? A massive $100 million project is just going to have way more moving parts than a $10 million one. More complexity means you'll naturally need more activities to track it all. It's really just a matter of scale. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. Your contract requirements can create this powerful chain reaction. Modern EPC contracts are getting super demanding. They might require weekly progress reports and, get this, they often put a cap on how long any single activity can last. This forces you to slice your work into smaller and smaller pieces, which, you guessed it, jacks up your total activity count. And of course, there's the scope of work. Your schedule absolutely has to capture every single thing you are contractually paid to do. I love this quote: "The right number is the minimum number you need to show the entire scope with clarity." If you can't measure it in the schedule, you can't prove you're making progress. All right, so we've talked about the outside forces. Now let's flip the coin and look at the internal factors. This is your project's blueprint, the plans and strategic choices you make that shape the schedule from the inside out. This one is absolutely crucial. Your schedule isn't just a to-do list. It's the story of how you're going to build this thing. If your plan is to use multiple crews working in different areas at the same time, your schedule has to show that with separate activities. If the schedule doesn't reflect reality on the ground, it's worthless. Next up is the work breakdown structure, or the WBS. The best way to think of the WBS is like a family tree for your project. The more detailed it is, the more branches and leaves you add, the more activities your schedule is going to need to support each and every one of those little pieces. But here's the reality check: your budget. Even if your project seems to scream for a super detailed schedule, maintaining it costs time and money. Every activity you add costs something to track. So you have to perform this balancing act. Is the insight you gain from an extra activity worth the cost of managing it? And this is how you work smarter, not harder. See, not all of your project data needs to live inside the main schedule. Take something complex like procurement. A single purchase order could have 15 different steps. Instead of cluttering your schedule with all that, you can track it in a separate report. This keeps the main schedule lean, clean, and focused on the big picture. So after you've weighed all these external pressures and internal choices, what does a great, well-balanced, just right schedule actually look like? It really boils down to these 5 things. A great schedule fully captures your scope. It matches how you're actually going to build, it meets all the contract rules, it has clear and measurable tasks, and, importantly, you can actually afford to maintain it. A schedule that ticks all these boxes is more than just a document. It's a powerful tool that guides your project to success. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Is your schedule just a static document you had to create to satisfy the contract? Or is it a dynamic, living tool for success? By really thinking through these principles, you can transform your schedule from a simple requirement into your single most valuable asset for managing complex work. Thanks for watching.